Survival in the wild can be unpredictable, but with the right knowledge, you can face the unexpected with confidence. Grandpa's 37 valuable survival hacks combine wisdom and practicality, offering life-saving tips for the wilderness. Don't miss out on these crucial skills. Subscribe now to stay prepared for any outdoor adventure or emergency. 1. Craft a signal fire to call for help. When you find yourself in a survival scenario, getting noticed by rescuers is crucial. A well-crafted smoke signal can be your lifeline to safety. Smoke signals are not just a relic of old traditions, they remain an effective way to attract attention, especially in remote areas where cell service is non-existent. Here's how to create one. Start by building a robust fire base. Gather dry wood for the initial flames, as it burns hot and creates a strong foundation. Once the fire is steady, you'll need to produce thick, visible smoke. For this, collect green leaves, fresh pine needles, or damp vegetation. These materials generate white, dense smoke. Add them carefully on top of the flames, ensuring they smolder without extinguishing the fire. To make your smoke signal noticeable, you'll need to release the smoke in distinct puffs. Use a large blanket, jacket, or any piece of fabric to cover the fire momentarily, then quickly remove it to let the smoke billow upwards. This method creates the recognizable puffs that signal distress. Ensure your signal fire is in an open area, preferably on high ground, to maximize visibility. Keep safety in mind. Clear the surrounding area of flammable materials to prevent wildfires. Timing your smoke signals during daylight hours, especially in calm weather conditions, increases their effectiveness. Remember, the universal distress signal involves 3 puffs of smoke, spaced evenly apart. This simple yet powerful technique can make all the difference when you're in need of rescue. 2. Decode direction with moss. Finding your bearings in the wilderness can mean the difference between wandering aimlessly and making your way to safety. Nature provides subtle clues to help you navigate, and moss growth is one of the most reliable indicators in the northern hemisphere. Moss tends to grow more abundantly on the north-facing sides of trees and rocks. This phenomenon occurs because the northern side generally receives less sunlight, creating a damp, cooler environment ideal for moss. To use this hack, approach a tree or rock and examine the distribution of moss. A thick, lush growth on one side suggests it's likely facing north. However, it's essential to use this clue in combination with other natural indicators for accuracy. Observe the position of the sun and note its arc across the sky, which rises in the east and sets in the west. You can also check the shape of tree branches in open areas. They're often fuller on the sun-facing southern side. Be cautious of anomalies. Dense forest canopies or unique microclimates may skew moss growth patterns. Pairing this technique with tools like a compass or map ensures greater precision. With a bit of practice, using moss as a guide can become an invaluable skill in the wild. 3. Create a portable match striker. Fire is an essential survival element, and ensuring your matches ignite easily can save precious time and effort. A clever way to keep your matches functional is by lining your match container with sandpaper to create a built-in striking surface. Start with a waterproof match container. This type of container not only keeps your matches dry, but also ensures they're safe from accidental ignition. Cut a piece of medium grit sandpaper to fit snugly inside the lid or the bottom of the container. Use adhesive to secure it firmly in place. The sandpaper acts as a reliable striking surface, especially in situations where the original matchbox striker might be damaged or unavailable. To further safeguard your matches, consider dipping the tips in melted candle wax. This creates a moisture-resistant coating, ensuring they remain functional even in damp conditions. When you need to use them, simply scrape off the wax before striking. Having a match container equipped with sandpaper ensures that you're always prepared to start a fire, no matter the circumstances. 4. Master the art of silent movement. In the wild, moving silently is an invaluable skill, whether you're avoiding predators, hunting game, or navigating a hazardous environment. Silent walking requires practice and mindfulness, but it's a technique that can make you almost undetectable. The key lies in how you step. Begin by placing the outer edge of your foot on the ground first. Gradually roll your foot inward, transferring your weight carefully to avoid making noise. Keep your knees slightly bent to absorb movement and maintain balance. This method minimizes disturbances like snapping twigs or crunching leaves, which can alert animals or adversaries to your presence. Plan your path by scanning the ground ahead. Avoid noisy surfaces such as dry leaves, loose gravel, or brittle sticks. Opt for soft, damp earth or moss-covered areas when possible. Additionally, move slowly and deliberately, pausing frequently to listen for sounds that might indicate nearby threats or opportunities. Practicing this technique regularly in different terrains builds muscle memory and enhances your ability to move stealthily. Silent walking not only keeps you undetected but also heightens your awareness of the environment, making it a critical survival skill. 5. Hone your slingshot hunting skills. Hunting small game in the wild often requires ingenuity and stealth. A slingshot, with its simplicity and efficiency, is an excellent tool for this purpose. Unlike firearms, slingshots are quiet, lightweight, and easy to use, making them ideal for survival situations. To maximize your effectiveness, choose dense stones or metal pellets as ammunition. These materials are compact and deliver the necessary force to take down small game. Practice is essential to develop accuracy and power. Start by familiarizing yourself with the mechanics. Hold the slingshot firmly, pull the band back evenly, aim carefully, and release smoothly. Target stationary objects before advancing to moving ones. Slingshots are versatile and can be crafted from natural materials if needed. A sturdy Y-shaped branch, elastic bands, and a pouch made from leather or fabric can serve as a makeshift slingshot. For best results, maintain your equipment, inspect the bands for wear, and replace them as needed. When hunting, use your silent walking skills to approach game without startling it. Position yourself at a reasonable distance and aim for vital areas to ensure a humane and efficient kill. Mastering the slingshot combines resourcefulness and precision, making it a valuable asset in the wilderness. 6. Mastering fire building in any condition. When you're out in the wilderness, fire can be the difference between survival and suffering. It provides warmth on cold nights, cooks your food, and serves as a signal for rescuers. However, building a fire in adverse conditions requires resourcefulness and understanding. Start by locating dry tinder. In wet conditions, this can seem daunting, but nature hides dry materials in surprising places. Check under large rocks, inside hollow logs, or peel back the bark of fallen trees. Deadwood often has a dry core, even if the outer layers are soaked. Shredded bark, dry leaves, or even small splinters of wood can act as excellent tinder. Once your tinder is secured, look for windbreaks. Arrange large rocks or fallen logs around your fire site to shield it from gusts. This creates a micro-environment where your flame can grow steadily. If it's raining, try to construct a simple lean-to with branches and leaves to keep the fire protected from above. A small flame needs oxygen and careful feeding to grow into a sustainable fire. Start with your tinder, then gradually add small twigs, moving to larger sticks as the flame strengthens. Always ensure your fire is built on dry ground or create a raised platform using flat stones to prevent moisture from extinguishing it. Mastering this skill can save your life in a dire situation. 7. Nature's bug repellent. Garlic and onion. Bugs are not just annoying, they can be dangerous in the wilderness, spreading diseases or causing allergic reactions. Nature offers a simple, effective, and chemical-free solution: garlic and onion. Both garlic and onion contain natural sulfur compounds that insects find repulsive. To make use of this hack, crush a clove of garlic or a slice of onion to release its juices. Rub the extracted liquid directly onto exposed areas of your skin, such as your arms, neck, and ankles. The scent creates a barrier that discourages mosquitoes, flies, and ticks from landing. This method is especially useful because it's easily renewable. You can carry garlic or onions with you as part of your supplies or harvest them if available in the wild. Reapply the juice as needed, especially if you sweat or if the scent fades after a few hours. While the smell might not win you any compliments, it can save you from countless bites. 8. Safely identifying edible plants. In the wild, knowing what you can eat is essential for survival. Misidentifying plants can lead to poisoning, so it's crucial to proceed with caution and knowledge. Start by familiarizing yourself with universally safe plants. Dandelions are easy to recognize, with their bright yellow flowers and jagged leaves. They're entirely edible, from roots to flowers. Cattails, found near water, offer nutritious shoots and pollen. Clover, with its distinctive trifoliate leaves, is another reliable option. When in doubt, use the universal edibility test. Begin by isolating the plant and testing it in small steps. Touch a small part to your skin to check for irritation. If safe, place a tiny piece on your lips to test for burning or itching. Finally, chew a small amount and wait for any adverse reactions before consuming more. Patience is critical with this method, as reactions may not be immediate. Avoid plants with milky sap, a bitter taste, or umbrella-shaped flowers unless you're confident of their identity. Proper identification ensures your survival and prevents dangerous mistakes. 9. Crafting fishing gear from nature. Fishing can be a lifesaver when food is scarce, and with a bit of ingenuity, you can craft effective fishing gear from natural materials. Start by finding a sturdy branch to serve as your fishing rod. Flexible and lightweight wood, such as willow or bamboo, works best. For the line, look for strong, thin vines, strips of bark, or even strands of grass twisted together. These materials can withstand the strain of a caught fish. For hooks, sharpen small bones, thorns, or even carved bits of wood. Bend them into a hook shape using heat or by wedging them into rocks. Attach your hook securely to the line. As bait, use insects, worms, or bits of edible plants to attract fish. Find a quiet spot by the water where fish are likely to gather, such as near rocks or under overhanging vegetation. Drop your line in and stay patient. This improvised setup requires practice, but it's a crucial skill for wilderness survival. 10. Following animal tracks to water sources. In the wilderness, finding water is often a top priority. Animals can guide you to this vital resource if you know how to interpret their tracks. Look for trails of larger animals like deer, which tend to frequent reliable water sources. Their tracks often lead downhill, as water naturally collects in lower areas. Pay attention to signs of fresh activity, such as sharp hoof prints or broken vegetation. Once you've identified a likely path, follow it with care. Animals often take the most direct route to water, leading you to streams, ponds, or springs. Be observant of your surroundings. Rippling sounds, lush greenery, or damp soil are strong indicators that water is nearby. Upon finding water, ensure it's safe to drink. Filter it through a cloth to remove debris and boil it to eliminate pathogens. This skill can be the key to staying hydrated and surviving in the wild. 11. Flour paste for diarrhea management. When you're in the wild, staying hydrated is critical. Diarrhea, often caused by contaminated water or food, can rapidly deplete your body's fluids and salts, leaving you weak and vulnerable. A surprising yet effective remedy involves using a common kitchen staple, flour. While it may not be the first solution that comes to mind, flour paste can help manage the symptoms of diarrhea and prevent dehydration. To prepare this remedy, mix a small amount of flour with water until it forms a smooth, thick paste. If you prefer, you can dilute the paste further with water to make it easier to consume. The flour works by thickening the intestinal contents, which can help slow the frequency of bowel movements. Additionally, it provides a mild coating effect on the stomach lining, potentially reducing irritation. This hack is particularly useful in emergency scenarios where medical supplies are scarce. While the taste might not be pleasant, the functional benefits outweigh the temporary discomfort. Keep in mind that this is a short-term solution to stabilize your condition until you can find proper medical care or alternative treatments. Always pair this remedy with ample hydration, using purified water if possible, to replenish lost fluids and electrolytes. As a survivalist, knowing how to utilize simple items like flour can make a significant difference in preserving your health during a crisis. 12. Mastering basic first aid. When venturing into the wild, injuries can happen at any moment. Whether it's a deep cut, a twisted ankle, or a minor burn, knowing basic first aid can be the difference between recovery and serious complications. Equipping yourself with this knowledge ensures you're prepared to handle emergencies, even with minimal supplies. Start with wound care. If you have a cut or scrape, clean it thoroughly to prevent infection. Use clean water, or, if available, a disinfectant like alcohol or iodine. Once clean, cover the wound with a makeshift bandage. Items like strips of cloth, gauze, or even plant leaves after ensuring they're safe can work in a pinch. For fractures or sprains, immobilize the area using a splint. You can create one using sturdy sticks and strips of fabric. Secure the limb snugly but not so tight that it cuts off circulation. In the case of burns, cool the area with water immediately and cover it loosely with a clean cloth to shield it from contaminants. Basic first aid isn't just about treating injuries, it's about preventing them from worsening. Learn to assess situations calmly, prioritize actions, and use natural resources effectively. When you're prepared, you increase your chances of survival significantly. 13. Coffee grounds for thirst relief. In survival situations, hydration is key. But when water is scarce, even quenching your thirst can be a challenge. Enter coffee grounds, a simple yet effective way to combat dryness and keep your mouth hydrated. The magic lies in the ground's ability to stimulate saliva production. Chewing a small amount of coffee grounds can moisten your mouth, providing temporary relief from the parched feeling that accompanies dehydration. This hack is especially useful when you're on the move and need a quick way to stay alert and focused. To use this method, carry a small amount of coffee grounds with you during your trek. If you find yourself without access to water, take a pinch and chew on it slowly. The bitterness might be intense, but it's a small price to pay for the added comfort and energy boost it provides. Coffee also contains natural stimulants like caffeine, which can help you stay sharp and attentive in critical situations. However, remember that this is a short-term solution. Chewing coffee grounds does not replace the need for water, so continue searching for a reliable water source while using this hack. Combining practical hydration strategies with creative solutions like this one can help you navigate even the toughest conditions in the wild. 14. Master the art of survival knots. When you're out in the wild, knowing how to tie the right knots can make the difference between just surviving and thriving. Survival knots are invaluable tools for securing items, building reliable shelters, or even improvising tools in a pinch. The ability to tie a strong, dependable knot can transform a potentially dangerous situation into one you can control. This skill is easy to learn and, with a bit of practice, becomes second nature. One of the most basic and versatile knots you should know is the square knot. The square knot is ideal for tying two ropes together securely. It's quick, simple, and works best when the ropes are of a similar size. For example, if you're building a shelter and need to extend a ridgeline for additional support, this knot can keep the structure stable. However, keep in mind that while the square knot is strong under tension, it can slip under heavier loads, so it's not the best choice for bearing significant weight. The bowline, often referred to as the king of knots, is another essential knot to master. This knot creates a fixed loop at the end of a rope that won't tighten under pressure. It's incredibly useful in survival situations, such as when you need to secure gear to a tree, tie guy lines for a tent, or hoist items into the air, beyond gear use. The bowline can also serve as a life-saving knot easily tied around a person's waist during a rescue or to pull someone out of a tricky situation like quicksand or icy water. Lastly, the clove hitch is a dependable knot for temporarily securing a rope to a pole or branch. This knot is particularly handy when constructing a shelter as it can quickly tie support beams in place. It's also useful for hanging items like cooking pots or wet clothes and can be adjusted with minimal effort. Mastering these knots not only enhances your ability to adapt, but also boosts your confidence when facing uncertain challenges in the wilderness. Whether you're lashing together the frame of a shelter, creating reliable anchor points, or improvising with limited resources, survival knots are your multi-purpose tool to help maintain control. With the square knot, bowline, and clove hitch in your repertoire, you'll be ready to tackle nature's toughest tasks with ingenuity and skill. 15. The magic of duct tape. Few items in your survival kit are as versatile and reliable as duct tape. This humble roll of adhesive magic has proven time and time again to be an indispensable tool in the wild. A roll of duct tape can patch, bind, seal, and reinforce almost anything you need, offering quick fixes to problems and buying you precious time in emergency situations. Its compact size and wide range of applications make it a must-have item for any adventurer. One of the most common survival uses for duct tape is patching gear. Tears in tents, holes in backpacks, or leaks in water bottles can become significant issues when you're far from civilization. A strip of duct tape can create a waterproof seal, keeping your gear functional and your supplies protected. For example, if a rip suddenly appears in your jacket during a rainstorm, a few pieces of duct tape can keep water out and ensure you stay dry and warm in the harshest of conditions. Another critical function of duct tape is its ability to assist in medical emergencies. Whether you're dealing with a sprain, fracture, or wound, duct tape can be a lifesaver. If you need to create a makeshift splint, duct tape can secure sticks or rigid materials to an injured limb, immobilizing it and providing much-needed support until you can get proper medical attention. It can also be used to fashion bandages or secure gauze, protecting cuts and abrasions from dirt and infection. Beyond gear repair or first aid, duct tape is also ideal for shelter construction and repair. High winds or unexpected damage to a tarp or tent can put your shelter at risk, especially in adverse weather conditions. Duct tape can quickly reinforce weak points, fix tears, or even help you build an entirely new covering by layering sections of tape together. Its durability against moisture and wear makes it perfect for these tasks. Creative survivalists have also discovered countless other uses for duct tape. It can create makeshift traps, secure gear to a backpack, or even fashion temporary shoelaces. Some use it to mark trails, seal food containers, or craft repair straps for broken equipment. Keeping duct tape in your survival kit ensures you have a multi-purpose tool ready for any challenge. It's not glamorous, but its unmatched practicality can be the difference between inconvenience and catastrophe in the great outdoors. Never underestimate the power of the trusty roll. It's your ultimate ally when the unexpected happens. 16. Crafting a sap torch. When darkness falls in the wilderness, having a reliable source of light and warmth becomes essential. One ingenious survival skill is creating a torch using materials readily available in nature. A sap torch is not only simple to make but can also serve as a vital tool for navigating at night, signaling for help, or keeping predators at bay. This method can transform basic resources like pine sap, a stick, and some bark or cloth into an effective light source. To begin crafting your sap torch, start by locating the key components. Look for a sturdy stick, preferably a few feet long and thick enough to hold without breaking. The stick will serve as the base for your torch. Next, gather a piece of absorbent material, such as a strip of cloth, shredded bark, or even dried grass. This will act as the wick to hold the fuel source. Finally, collect pine sap, which you can find oozing from pine trees. This sticky substance is highly flammable, making it the perfect fuel for your torch. After gathering your materials, wrap the cloth or bark firmly around one end of the stick, ensuring it's secure and won't unravel. If needed, use plant fibers or additional strips of bark to tie it in place. Once the wick is attached, coat it generously with pine sap. You can warm the sap slightly to make it easier to apply, but be careful of open flames near the sticky substance as it's highly combustible. Cover the wick thoroughly to ensure a longer and steadier burn. When the torch is ready, find a safe location to ignite it. Use another fire source, like a lighter, matches, or even a piece of smoldering wood, to light the sap-covered wick. The torch will produce a steady flame, providing both light to illuminate your path and warmth to stave off the cold. On top of that, the smoke from burning sap can repel insects, a bonus benefit in survival situations. However, it's important to note a few considerations. Pine sap burns hot but can drip, so hold the torch at an angle to prevent burns. Regularly monitor the flame, and, if needed, reapply more sap to keep it burning. Always exercise caution, and avoid using the torch in areas with dry vegetation to prevent accidental fires. A sap torch is a testament to ingenuity and resourcefulness in the wild. With this survival skill, you can face the darkness with confidence, safe in the knowledge that light and warmth are just a pine tree away. 17. Identifying and avoiding poisonous plants. When you're in the wild, the last thing you want is to fall ill because of a patch of dangerous vegetation. Recognizing poisonous plants is a critical survival skill that can safeguard your health and even save your life. Plants like poison ivy, deadly nightshade, and other toxic species are often deceptively beautiful or harmless in appearance, making it essential to familiarize yourself with their traits and habitats. One of the most notorious culprits is poison ivy, which thrives in wooded areas, along trails, and near water sources. Identifying poison ivy is easier if you remember the mantra, leaves of 3, leave them be. Poison ivy features clusters of 3 almond-shaped leaves, often with a glossy finish. Its edges may be smooth or slightly toothed. Exposure to this plant can cause a painful rash, itching, and blistering due to an oil called urushiol that resides in every part of the plant, including its stems and roots. Another infamous plant is deadly nightshade, also known as belladonna. While its purple flowers and shiny black berries might seem inviting, every part of this plant is highly toxic. This species often grows in shaded areas, especially near disturbed earth or on the edges of forests. Symptoms of poisoning include dilated pupils, dry mouth, confusion, and even hallucinations, making it vital to avoid any contact altogether. To effectively steer clear of these dangerous plants, it's wise to educate yourself before entering the wild. Field guides or smartphone apps that focus on plant identification can be incredibly helpful. Take time to study common toxic species in the region you plan to visit. Look at pictures, note their distinguishing features, and understand where they're most likely to grow. Pay special attention to plants with shiny leaves, bright berries, or milky sap. These are often signs of toxicity. When navigating through unknown terrain, stay vigilant. Avoid directly touching unfamiliar plants with your bare hands, especially those with 3-leaf clusters, thorns, or brightly colored fruit. If contact occurs, wash the area thoroughly with soap and water as soon as possible, and avoid touching your eyes, face, or other sensitive areas. Preventing accidental poisoning in the wild can be as simple as practicing caution and educating yourself about local plant life. Recognizing and avoiding poisonous plants keeps you safe and allows you to focus on enjoying the beauty of the outdoors. It's better to lose a minute admiring from afar than to suffer the consequences of an unintentional encounter. 18. Creating trail markers to navigate safely. Getting lost in the wilderness is more common than people think, and even seasoned adventurers sometimes stray off course. When venturing into unfamiliar terrain, it's crucial to have a reliable way to trace your steps back. One of the simplest yet most effective survival skills is creating trail markers. By leaving clear, unmistakable markers as you explore, you can create a visual breadcrumb trail that guides you safely back to your starting point. There are several methods to make trail markers, each using materials readily available in nature or from your gear. Stacked rocks, often called cairns, are one of the most popular options. To create one, find a few medium-sized rocks and stack them in a stable, noticeable tower in an open area. Ensure the stack doesn't blend into the natural rock formations around it. Placing it on cleared ground helps it stand out. If you're near sandy or muddy areas, you could draw an arrow in the dirt, leading the way forward. Another effective marker is broken branches. Snapping or bending branches along your trail can serve as subtle but effective signs if you're in a densely wooded area. Break branches at eye level so they're easy to spot when retracing your route. For extra visibility, tie a brightly colored piece of cloth, ribbon, or any material from your supplies to the branch. Keep in mind to use durable materials that won't blend into the foliage or drift away in the wind. If you're carrying bright materials such as flagging tape or reflectors, tie or attach them to prominent locations like trees or rocks. Choose spots that are eye-catching and can be seen from a reasonable distance. Avoid placing them too close together. Spacing markers approximately 10 to 15 feet apart allows you to conserve materials while still maintaining a clear path. If you lose sight of one, pause, retrace your last step, and scan the area carefully. To make your trail markers effective, think about visibility and durability. They should be positioned at a height and in a manner that is easy to spot but not easily disturbed by wind, wildlife, or weather. Additionally, take care to ensure your markers are unique enough that you can distinguish them from natural features in the environment. Trail markers not only prevent getting lost but also reduce the anxiety of navigating unfamiliar terrain. Knowing you've left a clear path to safety allows you to focus more on exploring and less on worrying. This quick and simple skill could become your most reliable compass in the wild. 19. Harnessing energy with a potato battery. When you're in the wild and need a small amount of electricity to power essential devices, improvisation becomes a lifeline. One fascinating way to generate power is by creating a potato battery. This method isn't just a classroom science experiment, it can serve as a practical survival hack in emergencies. With a potato, a piece of copper, zinc-coated metal, and some wire, you have the potential to produce enough electricity to run small devices like LED lights, calculators, or even a radio. The process is simple and requires minimal materials. Start by locating your potato, which serves as the electrolyte. Potatoes are rich in moisture and natural salts, making them excellent mediums for conducting electricity. Next, gather your two key metals. For copper, you can use a coin wire or even a piece of copper tubing. For zinc, a galvanized nail coated in zinc to prevent rust will work perfectly. Insert the copper into one side of the potato and the galvanized nail into the opposite side, ensuring they don't touch. Now it's time to connect the components. Take two wires and attach one wire to each metal piece. You can either tie the wires directly to the materials or use crocodile clips, if available. The wires will transfer the electrons generated in the potato to your device. Connect the free ends of the wires to the terminals of the small device you wish to power. Positive to positive to positive and negative to negative. Once connected, your device should begin to receive electricity. If one potato doesn't produce enough voltage, you can link several potatoes together in series to amplify the power output. The science behind the potato battery lies in the chemical reaction between the copper and zinc. When these metals are inserted into the acidic environment of the potato, it enables electrons to flow from the zinc to the copper, creating a small electric current. The potato acts as a natural conduit that fuels this reaction. While the potato battery is a fun and resourceful way to generate electricity, it does have limitations. It provides only a small amount of power, making it unsuitable for energy-intensive devices. However, in a survival setting, it's perfect for powering critical low-energy tools, providing light, or enabling basic communication. Mastering this technique showcases the brilliance of using natural resources. With a potato in hand, you can tap into the energy hidden in plain sight, proving that even everyday items can become powerful tools in the wild. 20. Brewing a wild coffee substitute. When you're in the wild, a steaming cup of coffee may seem like an unattainable luxury. However, a warm, coffee-like drink created from natural resources can provide a much-needed morale boost. With ingredients like acorns, dandelion roots, or chicory roots, you can brew a satisfying substitute that recharges your spirit and keeps you focused. The first step in making this wild coffee substitute is gathering your ingredients. Acorns are commonly found beneath oak trees, and are ideal because of their nutty richness. Dandelion and chicory, easily recognizable in most meadows or by roadsides, offer deep, earthy flavors with similar bitterness to coffee. When harvesting these plants, make sure they are collected from areas free of pesticides or pollutants. Any doubt about the environment requires extra caution to avoid contaminants. Once you've gathered your ingredients, it's time to prepare them for roasting. Begin by cleaning them thoroughly under running water. For acorns, remove their caps and soak them in water to leach out their natural tannins. This process might take a few hours and will reduce their bitterness, making them more palatable. For dandelion or chicory roots, cut them into smaller pieces to facilitate even roasting. Now, move on to roasting. Over an open fire, place the cleaned and prepared pieces in a pan or flat rock. Stir frequently to ensure even heating and to prevent burning. The acorns will darken and develop a nutty aroma, while the roots will take on a rich, roasted scent. This step is critical. It's where the flavors deepen and your substitute begins to imitate the taste of coffee. Next, grind the roasted ingredients to create a coarse powder. While a grinder or mortar and pestle works best, you can also smash the pieces between two stones to achieve a similar effect. Boil water in a pot and add your freshly ground mixture. For every cup of water, use a heaping tablespoon of your coffee substitute. Allow the mixture to simmer for 8 to 10 minutes, giving it time to release its full flavor. Strain the liquid into a cup using a cloth or other improvised filter, and enjoy your freshly brewed wild coffee. This substitute not only uplifts your mood but also supplies essential nutrients and warmth. Though it may not have caffeine, the earthy flavors and psychological comfort it brings can have remarkable effects, reminding you of home while nurturing your survival skills. 21. Predicting weather by observing animal behavior. Nature has its own way of communicating imminent changes, and animals are among its most reliable messengers. Their instincts often allow them to sense shifts in weather long before humans do. Observing animal behavior is a practical and fascinating method to predict weather changes, especially in survival scenarios. By paying close attention to the movements, sounds, and reactions of creatures around you, you can prepare for what's to come and avoid being caught off guard in the wild. One of the more common signs of bad weather is birds flying lower. Before storms, the air pressure drops, making it harder for birds to maintain their usual high altitudes. Lower flight paths are their way of conserving energy and seeking refuge. If you notice flocks swooping closer to the ground, it's a reliable clue that a storm may be approaching. Additionally, if birds are found gathering more frequently in trees or on power lines, they may be bracing for impending rain or wind. Frogs croaking louder is another natural indicator. Frogs are highly sensitive to changes in humidity and pressure, which often accompany rain. Their loud choruses before a storm are a clue that rainy weather is imminent. This behavior is particularly noticeable in areas near ponds, rivers, or other water bodies where frogs are abundant. Pay special attention to bees and ants as well. Bees will often retreat back to their hives, and ants will head deeper into their colonies at the slightest sign of bad weather. Their diminutive size makes them especially attuned to atmospheric changes. If you observe minimal bee activity near flowers, or find ants busily reinforcing their nests, it's a sign that rain may be on its way. Lastly, larger animals, like cattle, offer hints as well. Before storms, cattle frequently lie down in the grass. Some speculate that this behavior helps them keep patches of ground dry or conserve energy in response to the impending drop in air pressure and temperature. Their stillness in the open field is often a clear signal that adverse weather conditions are on the horizon. Using animal behavior to predict weather isn't just an old folk tale, it's a skill rooted in centuries of observation. For survivalists, this knowledge can be a powerful tool, helping you make crucial decisions to stay safe and prepared. By tuning into these natural cues, you attune yourself to the rhythms of the wild, ensuring you're one step ahead of nature's challenges. 22. The essential multi-tool, your survival companion. A multi-tool might be small and compact, but it is one of the most invaluable items you can carry into the wilderness. Designed to combine a variety of tools into a single, easy-to-carry device, a multi-tool equips you to handle countless challenges in survival situations. With components like a knife, scissors, pliers, screwdrivers, and more, its versatility ensures you are prepared to tackle multiple tasks in the wild, no matter how unpredictable the environment. The knife, often the most prominent feature, is ideal for a range of uses such as cutting rope, preparing food, or sharpening sticks for tools or fire starting. Its utility spans from the mundane to the life-saving. Pliers are another indispensable feature, perfect for gripping, bending, or pulling objects. They can bend wires for repairs, remove splinters, or even help with fishing tasks, like removing hooks from a catch. The scissors in a multi-tool shine in precision tasks. They can cut fabric for bandages, trim cordage, or even aid in first aid emergencies like cutting away clothing to tend to wounds. Similarly, screwdrivers, found in both flathead and Phillips varieties, are invaluable for repairing gear. Whether tightening loose screws in a camping stove or fixing a compass, the screwdriver is your go-to repair aid. Many multi-tools also include a small saw, bottle opener, or invaluable, broadening their functionality even further. The compact design ensures the multi-tool fits easily in your pocket or survival kit, so it's always within reach when needed. Carrying a multi-tool is like having a portable toolbox in your pocket. It's a symbol of preparedness and the perfect survival companion, proving time and again that even the smallest tools can make the biggest difference when it matters most. 23. Finding or building shelter, your first line of defense. When you're stranded in the wild, finding or building shelter is a top priority. Exposure to harsh elements, rain, wind, intense sunlight, or freezing temperatures can quickly escalate into life-threatening conditions like hypothermia or heat stroke. Shelter provides safety, warmth, and the stability needed to plan your next steps. The easiest option is to find a natural shelter, such as a cave, crevice, or hollowed-out tree. Caves, while providing excellent protection from wind and rain, should be approached with caution. Check for signs of wildlife such as tracks or droppings. These could indicate the space is occupied by animals. If a natural shelter isn't an option, it's time to build your own. A simple and effective design is the lean-to shelter. To create one, start by finding a sturdy ridgepole, such as a thick branch. Prop one end against a tree trunk at an angle, or brace it between two upright supports. Next, gather smaller branches and lean them against the ridgepole to create the structure's frame. Cover the frame with layers of leaves, grass, or pine boughs to insulate and protect from wind and rain. Press or weigh these coverings down with additional branches to keep them secure. If you're in extremely cold conditions, consider building in a frame version or digging out a pit below your shelter to trap and retain body heat. Always choose a dry, elevated spot for your shelter to avoid flooding or dampness. Shelters can also be used to signal for help, especially if made in a visible location or using bright materials. Beyond physical protection, having a safe space improves your mental outlook, providing a sense of security as you strategize survival. Shelter truly is your first defense against nature's unpredictable challenges. 24. Soothe burns with Epsom salts. When accidents happen in the wild, even minor burns can escalate without proper care. Whether you've brushed against a hot surface, been splashed by boiling water, or suffered a burn from the sun, Epsom salts can be a lifesaver. Known for their ability to reduce pain and swelling, Epsom salts provide a simple and effective remedy for calming burns in survival situations. The process is straightforward and requires only Epsom salts and cool water. Start by dissolving a generous amount of Epsom salts in cool, not cold water. Use about 2 tablespoons of salts for every cup of water. Stir until the salts are fully dissolved, creating an even solution. Cool water itself is soothing for burns, but the addition of Epsom salts enhances its effectiveness by drawing out heat and alleviating inflammation. Once the solution is ready, soak a clean cloth, bandage, or any absorbent material in the liquid. Carefully wring out excess water just enough so the cloth is damp, not dripping. Apply the compress gently to the affected area, making sure it covers the burn without putting pressure on the skin. Leave the compress in place for about 10 to 15 minutes. Repeat this process as needed, refreshing the solution periodically for maximum cooling and relief. The magnesium sulfate in Epsom salts helps reduce swelling and calm irritated skin, making it a natural anti-inflammatory. Additionally, it draws fluid away from the burn, which can prevent blistering and infection. However, it's important to avoid using this method if the skin is broken or severely burned, as it might aggravate the wound. Epsom salts are lightweight, affordable, and easy to pack in a survival kit, making them a versatile addition to outdoor gear. This quick remedy not only relieves discomfort, but also helps you recover faster, allowing you to continue your survival efforts without unnecessary pain. 25. Pine sap, nature's antiseptic. When faced with injuries like cuts, scrapes, or insect bites in the wild, having access to an antiseptic can make all the difference. Surprisingly, you don't need a first aid kit to treat minor wounds effectively. Pine sap, a natural remedy, can serve as an excellent alternative. With its antibacterial properties and ability to create a protective barrier, pine sap is a life-saving tool for survivalists. To begin, you'll need to collect fresh pine sap. Look for scars or injuries on pine trees, as this is where they tend to produce sap naturally. The sap appears as a sticky, amber-like resin oozing from the bark. Use a stick, knife, or any tool to gently scrape the fresh sap off the tree. Ensure the collected sap is clean and free from debris to avoid introducing contaminants to the wound. If you don't find fresh sap, hardened sap can be warmed over a flame to soften it. Once the sap is collected, clean the wound area as much as possible with clean water or a cloth. This step is crucial for removing dirt and other impurities. Apply the pine sap directly to the wound, covering it completely. Its sticky nature ensures it stays in place, forming a natural barrier. The sap works by acting as an antibacterial agent, killing or preventing bacteria from entering the wound. Additionally, it seals the area, keeping out dirt or further contamination. Pine sap not only aids in disinfection, but also accelerates the healing process by keeping wounds moist and protected. However, it is best for minor injuries and should not replace professional medical care in severe cases. Lightweight and easy to source in the wild, pine sap is a testament to nature's ingenuity. Knowing how to use it effectively could be the key to preventing complications when you're far from modern medical supplies. 26. Pine sap, nature's adhesive. When survival requires resourcefulness, few materials are as versatile as pine sap. Acting as a natural adhesive, pine sap is a reliable way to bond materials together. Whether you're repairing tools, crafting shelter components, or improvising gear, its strong, sticky properties make it an indispensable resource for wilderness problem solving. To use pine sap as an adhesive, the first step is to collect the sap. Look for pine trees with visible scars, wounds, or cuts, as these areas often exude fresh sap. The sap will appear as a sticky, amber substance flowing from the bark. Use a flat tool, stick, or knife to carefully scrape it off into a container or onto a piece of bark. If you find hardened sap, it can still be used. It just requires warming to regain its pliable state. Once you've gathered enough sap, it's time to melt it for application. Over a small fire, hold the sap in a metal container or on a heat-safe surface. Warm it gently, just enough to make it more liquid and workable. Be cautious not to overheat it, as pine sap is flammable and can ignite if exposed to direct, intense flames. The goal is to achieve a smooth, syrup-like consistency. With the sap melted, apply it generously to the surfaces you want to bond. Spread it evenly, ensuring full coverage for maximum adhesion. Press the materials firmly together, using pressure to secure them as the sap cools and hardens. The cooling process strengthens the bond, resulting in a durable hold that works well for wood, fabric, and even some metals. Pine sap adhesive is highly durable and weather-resistant, making it a valuable tool for field repairs or crafting in the wild. From fixing broken gear to sealing small cracks, this natural glue embodies efficiency and ingenuity. Mastering its use ensures you can tackle unexpected challenges with confidence and skill in any survival scenario. 27. The importance of a sharp knife. When venturing into the wild, a sharp, reliable knife is one of your most vital tools. From cutting rope to preparing food, crafting shelter, or even defending yourself, a well-maintained knife can simplify countless survival tasks. However, neglecting its condition can turn this essential tool into a liability. A dull blade not only hinders efficiency but also increases the likelihood of accidents. Knowing how to care for and sharpen your knife ensures it remains your steadfast ally in survival situations. A sharp knife requires less force to cut, slice, or carve, enhancing precision and reducing the risk of slips that can lead to injury. Start by keeping your knife clean and free of debris, especially after use. If you've been working with sticky substances, sap, or food, rinse the blade with clean water and dry it thoroughly. Moisture left on the blade can cause rust, dulling its edge and weakening its structure. Always store your knife in a sheath or dry pouch to protect it from environmental elements like humidity or dirt. Keeping your knife razor sharp is equally critical. Invest in a quality sharpening tool, such as a whetstone, ceramic rod, or portable sharpener. Begin by holding the blade at the correct angle, typically 20 degrees for most knives, and gently stroke it against the sharpening surface in a consistent motion. Repeat this on both sides of the blade, ensuring the edge is even and smooth. Periodically honing your knife, even before it becomes dull, helps maintain its cutting performance. Finally, handle your knife responsibly. Inspect and test the blade regularly to ensure it's in prime condition. Never use your knife for prying or cutting materials it's not designed for, as this can damage the blade. A sharp, well-maintained knife is more than a tool, it's a survival necessity that could save your life in the wild. 28. Crafting a tin can stove. When faced with the challenge of cooking or boiling water in the wild, a simple tin can become a life-saving tool. Crafting a portable tin can stove is not only practical but also remarkably efficient. This DIY survival trick uses minimal resources while providing the essential means to cook food or purify water, making it an invaluable skill for any outdoor adventurer. To create your stove, start with an empty tin can such as one used for soup or beans. Ensure the can is clean, removing any residue or labels that could burn and produce harmful fumes. Flip the can upside down so that the solid base becomes the top of your stove. Cut small holes around the bottom edge of the can using a multi-tool or knife. These holes act as vents, allowing airflow to feed oxygen into the fire, which is critical for keeping the flames alive and efficient. Next, remove the lid entirely if it hasn't already been opened, creating an open top for fuel placement and heat dispersion. If the lid is still partially attached, bend it back carefully to avoid sharp edges. Place small pieces of combustible material like twigs, dry leaves, or even solid fuel tablets inside the can. The can contains and directs the heat upward, making it an excellent focal point for cooking. Light the material inside the can, taking care to ensure the fire catches properly. Once lit, the stove is ready to use. A small pot, pan, or even another tin can be placed on top to boil water or heat food. Keep an eye on the fire. Feeding it small sticks is needed to maintain a steady burn. Compact and lightweight, this tin can stove is a game changer for survival situations. Its simplicity and effectiveness make it an essential skill for anyone venturing into the great outdoors. 29. Building a log raft. Crossing a body of water in the wild can be a daunting obstacle, but with some ingenuity and natural resources, you can construct a sturdy raft to help you float to safety. Building a log raft is a timeless survival skill that provides not only a way to cross rivers or lakes, but also a platform for transporting supplies. Start by selecting an area with access to dry, lightweight logs. Gather large logs, ideally around the same length and diameter, as these will form the base of your raft. Pine, cedar, or other softwoods are excellent choices because they are buoyant and easy to work with. Aim for 6 to 10 logs depending on the size of the raft and how many people or supplies it needs to carry. Once your main logs are collected, you'll need a way to bind them together. Use vines, strips of bark, or sturdy rope if available. Lay the logs side by side on flat ground and begin lashing them together. Start at one end and wrap the vine tightly around the first and second logs, leaving no slack. Tie a strong knot, then weave the vine along the length of the logs, alternating between wrapping and tying each log. Repeat this on the opposite end to secure the structure firmly. To improve stability, add smaller logs or branches crosswise on top of the main logs. These can act as a framework and prevent the raft from twisting or breaking apart in turbulent water. Lash these stabilizing components tightly to the base logs, ensuring uniform spacing and a smooth surface. Before launch, test the raft close to shore by pushing it into the water. Adjust any weak points and make sure it floats evenly. With patience and proper construction, this DIY raft will help you safely cross nature's watery barriers, empowering you to explore further or escape danger. Verity using mud as sunblock. When exposed to the harsh sun in the wild, protecting your skin from harmful UV rays is critical to prevent sunburn and heat-related injuries. If you're without traditional sunblock, mud offers a natural, readily available alternative to shield your skin and keep you safe. This age-old method is easy to implement and surprisingly effective, making it an essential survival hack. To use mud as a sunblock, start by locating a patch of soil with access to water. Mix the soil with water until it forms a thick, paste-like consistency. Avoid using soil with sharp particles like gravel or sand, as these could irritate your skin. Stick to smooth, soft mud for optimal coverage and comfort. Once the mud is ready, apply a generous layer to all exposed skin, including your face, arms, legs, and neck. Spread it evenly, ensuring there are no gaps that might expose your skin to sun damage. The mud creates a physical barrier, reflecting and absorbing UV rays while also cooling your skin in the process, a bonus in hot climates. Be sure to cover areas that are often overlooked, like the back of your hands and ears. Mud isn't as long-lasting as commercial sunblock, so reapplication is key. As the mud dries and begins to crack or flake off, reapply a fresh layer to maintain effective protection. This is especially important if you've been sweating or swimming, which can cause the mud to wash away. While it isn't a perfect substitute for sunscreen, mud provides effective temporary protection in survival situations. Beyond its shielding benefits, the natural cooling effect of mud can help regulate body temperature, offering relief from the heat. This simple, resourceful technique truly underscores the power of utilizing nature's gifts for self-preservation. 31 Repelling mosquitoes with neem leaf smoke. Mosquitoes aren't just a nuisance in the wild, they pose serious health risks, as many species carry diseases like malaria or dengue. Protecting yourself is crucial, and if you're without conventional repellents, burning neem leaves provides a reliable and natural solution. Neem, with its strong, earthy scent, releases compounds when burned that are highly irritating to mosquitoes but harmless to humans, making it an excellent survival hack. To begin, gather some dry neem leaves. If the leaves are damp, allow them to dry in the sun to ensure they burn properly. You'll also need to prepare a safe location for the controlled fire, such as a cleared patch of dirt or a fire pit surrounded by stones. This setup minimizes the chance of the fire spreading. Build a small fire using dry twigs or firewood, ensuring the flames are manageable and contained. Once the fire has stabilized, place the neem leaves onto the fire. To maximize the smoke output, you may layer the neem leaves gradually, allowing them to smolder rather than burn out too quickly. Avoid adding too many leaves at once, as this could smother the fire. The resulting smoke will disperse into the surrounding area, creating a mosquito-free zone. Place this fire near your shelter or campsite, but keep it far enough to avoid inhaling too much smoke. The neem smoke not only drives mosquitoes away, but also has the added benefit of repelling other pests that might disrupt your rest or outdoor activities. Neem leaves are lightweight and easy to carry, making them a fantastic addition to your survival arsenal if you're venturing into mosquito-prone regions. This simple, eco-friendly method protects you from bites and disease, letting you focus on surviving and thriving in nature's wilderness. 32 Navigating by the stars. When lost in the wild at night, knowing how to find your way without modern tools can be a life-saving skill. Using the stars to determine direction is an ancient method that remains just as valuable today. By identifying key constellations and celestial markers, you can orient yourself with confidence whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. If you're in the northern hemisphere, the North Star Polaris is your guide. To locate it, first find the Big Dipper, a prominent group of 7 stars. Picture the Big Dipper as a ladle with a handle. Focus on the outer rim of the bowl of the ladle, specifically the 2 stars farthest from the handle. These stars, known as Merak and Duvi, form a straight line that points directly to Polaris. Follow this imaginary line upward, and you'll spot a moderately bright star, the North Star, at the end. Polaris sits almost directly above the Earth's North Pole, so it reliably indicates true north. For those in the southern hemisphere, the Southern Cross is your key to finding south. Look for a cross-shaped constellation with 4 bright stars forming the arms. To locate south, mentally extend an imaginary line downward from the longer arm of the cross. Along this line, roughly 4.5 times the length of the cross, you'll find the South Celestial Pole. Drop a vertical line from this point to the horizon. That's your southern direction. Mastering star navigation not only helps you maintain your course, but also fosters a deeper connection with the natural world. It eliminates the reliance on compasses and technology, giving you autonomy in challenging conditions. This timeless method empowers you to face the unknown with clarity and purpose, guided by the stars above. 33 Soothe poison ivy with ash paste. Encountering poison ivy in the wild can result in an irritating and uncomfortable rash if you're not careful. The plant's oils, primarily urushiol, cause itching, redness, and swelling upon contact with your skin. Luckily, if you find yourself without commercial treatments, a simple remedy exists right under your feet: ash from a campfire. Ash contains alkaline properties that can neutralize the irritants and bring soothing relief to your skin. To create an ash paste, you'll need wood ash and clean water. Start by collecting the cooled ashes from a fully extinguished campfire. Make sure the ashes are pure and free of debris like burnt plastic or food residue, as these can aggravate the situation. Place about 2 tablespoons of ash into a small bowl or flat surface. Gradually add clean water to the ash, a few drops at a time, while mixing, until it forms a thick and spreadable paste. The consistency should be similar to wet clay, not too runny, but easy to apply. Once your paste is ready, carefully apply it to the affected areas of your skin. Use clean hands or an improvised tool, like a stick or cloth, and cover the rash completely with a generous layer of the ash paste. Allow it to sit for 15 to 20 minutes, letting it dry slightly, as the alkaline properties in the ash help draw out and neutralize the oils from the poison ivy. You'll likely feel a cooling and soothing effect as itching subsides. Afterward, gently rinse the paste off with water, avoiding vigorous scrubbing that might irritate the skin further. Reapply as needed, especially if itching persists. This natural ash paste remedy not only relieves discomfort, but also utilizes a renewable resource that's readily available in survival situations. It's yet another clever example of how nature often provides the tools we need to endure and heal. 34. Insulating with leaves. When temperatures drop in the wild, hypothermia becomes a very real threat. Survival often depends on your ability to retain body heat, and dry leaves can serve as an effective, natural insulator. Lightweight, abundant, and incredibly efficient, they're a simple yet powerful resource to help you stay warm in critical situations. To use leaves for insulation, start by gathering dry leaves from the ground. Look for areas with an abundance of fallen foliage, avoiding wet or damp leaves that can zap heat instead of trapping it. Dry leaves have pockets of trapped air, creating a barrier that slows the loss of body heat. Be thorough in your collection efforts. An ample supply ensures adequate insulation for either shelter or clothing. For shelter insulation, spread the leaves out in thick layers along the walls, floor, and even over the roof of your temporary structure. This added layer significantly reduces the penetration of cold air and helps trap warmth within your shelter. If the nights are especially cold, create a mound of leaves that you can burrow into, forming a makeshift bed that cocoons you in warmth. If you don't have a proper shelter, you can use leaves to insulate your body directly. Pack dry leaves into the gaps between your clothing layers, particularly around the torso and legs. This traps pockets of warm air close to your body, effectively reducing heat loss. If you lack layers, bundle the leaves together and tie them around your body using vines or strips of fabric to create improvised insulation. Though they are a temporary solution, dry leaves function as a stalwart barrier against the cold, easy to find and simple to use. They underscore the power of survival ingenuity, turning a humble forest floor into a life-saving tool. 35. Crafting a bed of boughs. When spending a night in the wild, a poorly insulated sleeping surface can quickly sap your body heat, leaving you cold and vulnerable to hypothermia. That's where evergreen boughs come in, a natural solution for creating a warm, cushioned layer between you and the cold, hard ground. By crafting a bed of boughs, you not only improve your sleeping comfort, but also greatly enhance your odds of staying warm and rested in survival situations. To start, select a spot for your bed. Look for level ground free of rocks, roots, or moisture. If the area is damp, dig a shallow trench or place larger branches underneath to raise your bed off the ground. Gather evergreen boughs, as these are ideal for both insulation and cushioning. Pine, spruce, or fir boughs work best because their needles don't shed as quickly and their branches retain a firm, springy texture. Use a knife or multi-tool if you have one, or carefully snap off boughs from lower branches, ensuring you don't damage the tree unnecessarily. Collect enough to create a thickness of at least 6 to 8 inches when layered. Arrange the boughs in overlapping layers to maximize support and insulation. Lay the branches with their needle-covered tips pointing outward, creating a smoother surface to lie on. For added comfort, form a dense layer in the area where your hips and shoulders will rest, as these points bear the most pressure during sleep. Finally, if possible, cover the boughs with additional soft materials such as dry leaves, moss, or grass for added warmth and comfort. Test your bed by lying down to ensure it feels supportive and insulates well. A bed of boughs acts as a barrier against the cold and damp ground, helping you conserve energy and sleep better. It's a resourceful and effective way to find comfort in the wild. 36. Using tree bark as kindling. Starting a fire in the wilderness is one of the most critical survival skills, and the key to success often lies in the choice of kindling. Tree bark, particularly from birch or cedar trees, is one of nature's most effective materials for this purpose. Lightweight, fibrous, and rich in natural oils, it ignites quickly and sustains a flame, even in damp conditions. Knowing how to use bark properly can turn a challenging situation into a moment of triumph. Birch bark is an excellent choice due to its papery texture and flammable oils, which make it easy to ignite. To harvest it, locate a birch tree with peeling bark.